Hello, good evening, everyone. Welcome. I am so excited to see you all today, even though, well, you can see me, I can't see you, but listen, we're here together. Stefanie Brown James, co founder and senior advisor of The Collective, which actually has now grown to a affiliated network of 5 organizations. Tonight, we are featuring The Collective PAC and a beautiful, wonderful woman that you all need to know and support. But first, I want to just say again, welcome this evening to the first speaker series event of 2021 for the Collective PAC. If you followed along with any of the events we did last year, you know we have extremely meaningful conversations with the political and community leaders that you should know. The folks that are really working to make sure we not only build Black political power every day, but most importantly, they are seeking to become the lawmakers to create the laws that would make the lives of Black people and all Americans across this country better. And so we are starting 2021 off right. 2020 may not have been any way what we thought it was going to be. But I am hopeful for a brighter day this year. And I think of no one more synonymous with a brighter day than our guest tonight. And I'm going to get to her in just a minute, but I do want to say, one, I am thankful for the support of everyone across the country of what you have provided to the Collective and the Collective PAC. We had an amazing 2020 electoral year. We were able, through our PAC, to support over 150 candidates who ran for office, to support so many historical firsts. We have, of course, our Vice President Kamala Harris, first Black woman, first South Asian woman, first woman to be Vice President of these United States. We had Senator Raphael Warnock, who is, since Reconstruction, the first Black senator to serve from the great state of Georgia. But we also have folks like Marilyn Strickland from Washington State, who now serves in Congress, first Black woman to do so. And so the support that the Collective PAC gives to candidates who are running on the local, state, and federal level across the country is only possible because of your support, your financial support, and for you being tapped into these kind of conversations and spreading the word about these wonderful individuals who are working to support our communities. As I mentioned before, the Collective has grown into now 5 affiliated organizations. We have the Collective PAC. We also have the Collective Super PAC. We have Southern Strategies, which just launched this year to focus on all the power that is building and coming to fruition in the South. But in addition to that, we have our nonpartisan, more nonprofit arm. And so we have Collective Future, which is our C4 entity, which houses our Vote to Live campaign. And then we also have the Collective Education Fund, which has a lot of our educational efforts, like the Black Campaign School, which is now being taken over by 3 Point Strategies and Jessica Bird. More to come on that. But we had a terrific year last year with regards to Black civic engagement work, as well as our political work. But tonight we are really focused on introducing to some, but I think really reminding for others the need to support a phenomenal woman that is running to be the next mayor of St. Louis, Missouri. And she's none other than my Sarah, Tishaura. Come on to the stage. Yay. Tishaura Jones is here, y'all. Hey, Tishaura.
Hey, Stefanie. Hello, everyone. Good to see you, my love.
Great to see you. I'm used to seeing you now multiple times during the year. And so I hate that I have not seen you in person, but listen, I'll take whatever I can get to see that beautiful face of yours. You doing all right?
Same. I hope you and Quentin and the boys are okay.
You know what? We're making it through. 3 and 5-year-old in the house all the time. It's a lot. It's a lot to it, but as a mom of a wonderful, brilliant son, I know that our children really are the priorities, and everything else is built around them. And so I just want to say I am thankful for your time tonight, Tishaura. we want to make sure folks know that on April 6th, there is one choice for the next mayor of St. Louis, Missouri. And so I want to just get into the conversation, if that's cool. So first of all, you are actually one of the first mayoral candidates that the Collective PAC endorsed and supported when you first ran a couple of years ago for St. Louis mayor. And I actually think that race was one of the first, if I'm being honest, the first heartbreaking moments I had, because I'm like, that was and should have been like a definitive moment where we had the first Black woman serving as the mayor of St. Louis, especially with all that was going on in Ferguson and in Missouri. You historically did not win that race by 888 votes. And I hear that you actually have a pendant that you wear that has the 888 number on it. Please let us know what first, even a few years ago, made you want to run to become the mayor of St. Louis, and what has changed over the last few years to now make you say, you know what, I'm going to put my hat in the race again to serve my community.
Yeah, so I do wear a pendant. I have a necklace that has 888 around as a pendant, and I do wear it pretty frequently. It looks like I might have to hang it up. And as Yvette Simpson says, replace it with a pin.
Yes, yeah.
And, when I ran back in 2017, I ran because I truly believe that St. Louis deserved change and deserved a dynamic and transformational leader. And to come so close, and it was an open seat. Let me back up. It was an open seat. So we all know the research that usually when women run in an open seat, we typically win. And a woman did win. We got our first female mayor out of that race, white female. And that race was heartbreaking for me as well, because we had 5 Black candidates in that race. It was a partisan primary, and we split the vote horribly. And the research and all of the numbers counters were saying that even if just one of them dropped out, I would have beat her. And it was hard to even consider running again, because everywhere I went, the grocery store, Target, church, people would come up to me and say, you got to run again, you got to run again. And I wanted to give the new mayor time to govern. And I just wanted to continue to do my job. But a couple of things happened locally that sort of changed my mind, because I always think regionally. I don't think just about the city of St. Louis. I think about St. Louis's place in a larger picture of our region. And our St. Louis County executive at the time wasn't the easiest person to deal with. So I was thinking about how I could govern, along with my colleagues. And something happened last April. He was indicted on federal charges and had to resign and was sent to jail. And his replacement happened to be a former colleague of mine in the legislature. And I said, well, I like him. I can work with him.
Yeah.
So, that regional governing picture started to really take shape and take form. So that's when I really started to consider running again. And our current mayor really hasn't done much to move this city forward. Those two pieces really sort of fueled my my ambition to run again. And of course, prayer, lots and lots of prayer.
Yeah. That's so true. And I think this is actually a really good example, Tishaura, of, the woman that won in 2017 was a Democrat, but she did not have the progressive viewpoint or plans to move St. Louis forward. And so it's not necessarily just about electing a Democrat. It's about electing the right person that's going to move the community forward. And so I'm glad that you told us your story. And I actually want to make sure that people know tonight that you ain't new to this, you true to this. You have served St. Louis and Missouri in so many ways. You have been a state representative, you have been a leader, in the state house. You have been historic first. You're the first Black woman to serve as treasurer of St. Louis. So if you could just give us a little bit of sense of like, Tishaura, why, girl, you could be on Wall Street making all this money, honey, because you are a brilliant financial wizard as well. What really prompted you getting into the work that you're doing in the community service and public service that you're doing now?
Part of my genetic makeup in my DNA. I was born into this. My father was the former comptroller of the city of St. Louis. And I'll be totally honest and vulnerable with your watchers tonight. His career didn't end in the greatest way. He also ended up indicted and had to go to prison. And because of that, I said, I don't think I'm going to ever run for politics. I was like, ever. I'm not going to do that ever. And my mama, God rest her soul, always used to tell me the quickest way to make God laugh is to tell him what you would never do. And so I was appointed to a vacant committee woman seat. And then I ran for state rep, and then also became the first Black female assistant minority floor leader in Missouri history. And really discovered that this was my calling, because a lot of times you have to listen to your creator, listen to God for what your calling is. And my calling is to serve. So, taking all of that into consideration, looking at this office as the treasurer, I totally transformed it and took it to a place where it's now outward facing and serving the people. And I really, really enjoy what I do. There are a lot of times where they say, or one of the other things I like to say is that, men run to be somebody, but women run to do something. And I ran to do something.
Hey, as Oprah says, that's tweetable. What did she say? That's a word, Tishaura, for sure. That's true.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but yeah, that rang true for me.
Yeah. And again, that's what I've run to do something. So just love my job. It's my calling.
And let me ask you, did you ever run to make history? And how does that feel to make history?
I didn't run to make history. I just ran to serve. And a lot of times when you're doing things for the right reasons, God just tends to bless you beyond your wildest dreams. But also being the first is a bit. It gave me a bit of anxiety because I didn't want to mess it up. But I wanted to make my family proud. I wanted to make my community proud, and make my son proud. I've got a 13-year-old, adorable 13-year-old son who's watching my every move. And I want to make sure that I make him proud and leave a legacy for him and my unborn, unconceived grandchildren.
Very unconceived, and we want to keep it that way, son. Yes, for a long time.
15, 20 years.
And so just speaking of legacy, one of the legacies that you will be sure to say once you become the mayor and you leave being the treasurer of St. Louis is that you have really worked to instill financial literacy, financial education within the community. I know that you have worked to make sure that kindergartners, and I have a kindergartner now, that they're able to have a savings plan now to help them go to college if that's what they choose to do. Can you talk about your time as the city's treasurer? What prompted you to seek that position? And what are you most proud of what you and your team have been able to accomplish during your time in that position?
Yeah, so a lot of times they also say about women who run for office, we have to be asked. It's not something that
10 times.
And what I call my Playboy friend, Mike McMillan, who's now the CEO of the Urban League, he was the license collector at the time. And he saw that my predecessor was retiring, and he just kept at me, Tishaura, you should run. And I was like, Mike, go somewhere. I'm not doing this. I'm fine where I am in the legislature. But then he convinced me to run, and I won. And then he left to be the CEO of the Urban League and left me in City Hall by myself. But But the treasurer's office is one of the most unique offices in the country, because not only am I the city's chief cash management and investment officer, I'm the parking supervisor. So I take care of all of the on-street parking assets, parking meters, several garages and surface lots, and parking tickets. And that's a lot of money and a lot of power. But I decided to use my power for good and not evil. So I found a way, as I looked at what other treasurers across the country did. I studied the work of Jose Cisneros in California and Stefanie Neely in Chicago, and found that they were getting into this financial empowerment space and using their offices as treasurer. They're both elected in those respective cities. They use that office to leverage their power with financial institutions to bring resources to the community and hold their feet to the fire on the Community Reinvestment Act. And I said, well, St. Louis is in a position to do the same thing in the treasurer's office, with the treasurer being the chief banking officer. And then I had this pot of money for parking fees. And so I went to the board of aldermen and said, I want to use just a portion of these funds to fund financial empowerment initiatives. And it was a little bit of a fight, but it got approved. And then so now we're out in the community. We provide one-on-one counseling to help people increase their credit scores, because nothing changes your life more than God or love or a 100-point increase in your credit score. And we also started the College Kids Children's Savings Account program, again, modeling that after Jose Cisneros in San Francisco, where we give a $50 college savings account to every kindergarten student entering a public school in the city of St. Louis. We now have over 18,000 children with over $1.4 million saved for their futures.
Wow. From the parking fees?
Yes.
So yes. Tishaura, what used to happen before you did that? Like how was that being reinvested into the community before you got into this position? Because this to me sounds like a no-brainer, brilliant idea.
The treasurer was not even in this line of business. I created the Office of Financial Empowerment when I became treasurer, and decided to use my influence with financial institutions to bring those resources back to my community. Before we started this program, our kids didn't have accounts unless their parents voluntarily opened a 529 account with the state. But our accounts are local, and our children can watch those accounts grow because we contribute to it when they or their families do good things like match savings, good attendance, and parents' participation in financial education courses, because we use the child as an entry point to the family to increase their financial capability. So we find that they have opened new accounts for themselves or other children in their family. They have refinanced existing debt, or bought their first home, or bought a car, using the tools that we give them to manage their finances. And so we're starting to see little by little, because was that song say, if I help one person, then my living's not in vain. We're seeing little by little that we're helping people change their financial futures.
A child shall lead them. And so the fact that you have children who have been provided this opportunity, who are now helping their parents get financial literacy, and the generational change that's going to come as a result of that. That's so powerful. And I just want to kind of pull out, you mentioned my experience in the financial industry. What is your experience in the financial industry? What is your professional background, in addition to, you've told us about the service that you've had? What's your professional background? And also, how does all of that make you the best candidate to lead St. Louis forward?
So I'm in finance from Hampton University, and I went to work in the investment banking industry for much of my career. And when I was in the legislature, I went back to the investment banking industry because it was easy. It was the easiest, second job to have. So I was vice president of public finance for Blaylock Robert Vann, which is also a minority owned investment banking firm. And so I already have this, and having that as experience coming into the treasurer's office, I'm able to, read our financial statements and understand, complex financial transactions. Also, I've managed a budget of millions and a staff of hundreds. And also, being treasurer and being a state legislator has allowed me to build relationships across this country with the collective PAC and with elected officials across this country, bringing new ideas back to St. Louis, because we're stuck right now. We're stuck in a rut, and it's time for us to start growing like these other Midwestern cities are starting to, and some of our other southern cities like Nashville and
Birmingham. Yeah.
Right. Right. Exactly. So it's our time, and with the relationships I have, the executive experience I have, I'm ready to transform St. Louis and let it grow.
I had a great conversation today with a state representative in Florida. Her name is Fentress Driscoll, and she's a lawyer by trade. And actually, she's a sewer too. Now that I think about it, so I'm gonna have to connect us. But she said that she went to law school because she felt that law was the language of politics, which I had never heard before. Mm-hmm. And it made me think with what you just said, Tishaura, that finance is the language of leading in municipal capacities and being able to make sure as a mayor, you understand the finances, but you also understand how to govern and how to lead and how to be tapped into the community and what's necessary. And so your financial background, I know, has served you well, not just as treasurer with saving the city more than $30 million, but also will really be an asset for you to be mayor. And so I noticed that you slipped in the Hampton University. So listen, let me say this on the top front. I love HBCUs. But girl, I went to Howard and you went to Hampton.
Right down the street.
I will say that there is always Howard-Hampton love. Even though we may go back and forth, there really is always love between us. And I am proud that you went to an HBCU, and just curious, because I know we have a lot of also college students that are watching and younger folks that are watching. How did your HBCU preparation help you to lead and serve and show up in a way that you do now?
Oh wow! Prepared for leadership in a way that I don't think going to a PWI or primarily white institution can. And no knock against, my brothers and sisters
for sure
who have attended one, but spending 4 consecutive years around people who look like you and competing with people who look like you, and knowing that all of your professors want you to do as best as you can in their classes, and they're not out to get you, and also not having to experience racism for 4 years.
There's no ulterior motives there because you're Black.
Right. Everybody's Black. Right. It's all Black all day.
All Black all day in every way.
Every way. And that's what I've been trying to tell my son as he starts to consider college, because I've been just trying to drill into him, hey, you need to go to HBCU, you need to go to Hampton. Mm-hmm. We were supposed to go to homecoming in 2020, but the pandemic. And his father also went to an HBCU.
Okay.
So he gets it from both sides. But it prepares you in a way that I think is unmatched. And then also your network, not just amongst your alumni, but also amongst fellow HBCU grads. There's just this love that exists no matter where you went.
Yep.
Right. And my Hampton alum network has been there for me like nobody else during all of my campaigns. And I just try to make sure that I show them love back, I give back, and I go back every chance I can.
Listen, well, one going back is therapy for the soul to go back and to just be immersed in what feels like a safe space from the everydayness of society. And I know we often see each other. So we're both members of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. I see that red on you looks beautiful as always. And we typically meet up at Delta Days on the nation's capital, where the sorority goes on Capitol Hill to talk about the policy priorities that we have. And I know that when it comes to being of service, you are serious about seeing policies enacted that will not only progress the Black community forward, but progress us all forward.
Right.
And so in thinking about a Tishaura Jones administration in St. Louis, what does that look like? And a two-part question. What does day one look like? You wake up, you like, this me. You kiss your son, like we did it. What does that day look like? Day one look like? And what does your administration look like? And what do you want to achieve as mayor of St. Louis?
So this may sound really simple, but I think this sums it up the most. The things I always talk about in my stump speeches are, and it's true that I want our St. Louis to be united, strong, confident, and equitable. And in the St. Louis that we're going to build, police will not be the only answer when we dial 911. Youth will be at the center of our planning. The tax revenues will fix our leaky civic systems, and your government will be open to you. And that's just as simple as I want to put it. And then the other part of that is, when you solve the problems of Black women, you solve everybody's problems. So I am going to focus in on solving the problems of the Black women and single moms like myself and single parents like myself, because that sort of policy focus helps all the boats in the tide rise. Because what do Black women want for our children? We want good quality schools. We want safe neighborhoods. We want quality, affordable housing. We want good paying jobs. So we're able to provide for our children. We want savings accounts and financial stability. So they'll be able to go to college. So, all of those things that Black women want, everybody wants. So again, I'm out here to solve the problems for Black women. When Black women win, everybody wins.
Yeah, win. And so, and to that point, Tishaura, and it's so funny because I literally had a convo about this today. One of the things that I love about especially a good amount of the Black women that the collective PAC has been able to support is that they have won in places that nobody thought a Black woman could win. And it's like we can win everywhere because our issues are your issues. And so I wonder, as you go across St. Louis, which is a diverse city, which has a number of challenges that are rooted in discrimination and racism and white supremacy, but also just in the everythingness of society. And I'm born and raised and live in Cleveland. So I feel like we were like in the same boat when it comes to our cities. What is your message when you go out to non-Black communities to have them understand that you would be a mayor for everybody and that your agenda speaks to helping, even if you are a 68-year-old white man, your agenda will help him and his family progress as well. How do you talk to your constituents or your hopeful constituents in that way?
I don't change. My message is the same for the Black community as it is for the white community. And I think we all want the same things.
Yeah.
All want the same things. And I show up as my authentic self. I don't change my message, especially about like public safety or anything when I'm in front of a white crowd versus a Black crowd. It's the same because I think that, we deserve transformational change and we deserve someone who's ready to lead on day one. And that's what I keep stressing to people as I talk to them. They say that, me and my opponent, there's another white woman running, that we're both progressive, and they're trying to figure out the differences between the two of us and the differences between policy. Well, a lot of my policy and platform from 2017 is now her platform, and I point that out. But also, there's a difference in experience and lived experience.
Yeah.
This St. Louis is pretty much a 50-50, majority minority city, right? And it's and we suffer from decades of systemic racism, that has neighborhoods that haven't been invested in decades, and that look like bombed out war zones. And then we complain about the crime. I'm like, well, you aren't giving people any hope to do anything any different,
or resources, or jobs, or any. Yeah.
Exactly. And like our sister Ayanna Presley always says, the people closest to the problem are closest to the solution.
Yeah.
And so, and I live in those neighborhoods. I purposely moved back to the Black part of town, because my father lives there, so I live across the street from him. But still, I made the choice to move back because I want to be a part of the solution, because I am closest to the problem.
I love that you mentioned that you are who you are. You never listen. That's true. So Tishaura is actually my friend. Let me say that. So I'm biased, but I'm not biased. But I am biased because she is my friend. But clearly, how would you not be her friend? Because she is all of it. What I appreciate so much about you, Tishaura, is that you are completely authentic. You are completely yourself at all times. You are empathetic and caring and forward-thinking, motivational, inspirational. And so I just want to co-sign on the fact that it is a beautiful thing to have a person who loves themselves so much that they are willing to be themselves in all situations. And I really appreciate that about you, Tishaura, is that you are authentically wonderful in all situations. Because I've seen you in a few situations, baby, and you're always classy, babe. So with that being said, we are getting ready to wrap up our convo, but I do have a couple of really quick questions I want to ask. There's this big conversation about there being so many women running for office now. Black women running for office. I often get asked the question, what's the barriers to women running for office, or really even being in service? And I know for me, I mentioned before, I have a 3 and 5-year-old. That joint is hard. Okay. And I have a husband at home, God bless his soul, dealing with these 3 and 5-year-olds with me and trying to have a full-time job. How? As a mother of a 13-year-old with a full-time job currently running for office, how do you do it? And give us some words of encouragement for that woman that's watching, that wants to be in service, but just feels like it is too daunting of a task.
God bless you with an amazing father. And I live across the street from him. My mother passed away about 20 years ago, but I live across the street from my dad, and he keeps my son whenever I travel, whenever I'm out, whenever I'm working. He picks him up from school every day. And that is definitely a blessing. He's retired, so his schedule is very flexible. And so to women watching, activate your village, because when my dad's not available, I have a wonderful family that God has blessed me with, a whole host of cousins that will pick Aiden up and take him wherever he needs to go, send him money on Cash App when he needs it, when he can't get in touch with me. So I just have a wonderful, wonderful village. So my piece of advice to single mothers thinking that this is what they want to do, just activate your village and make sure that they are 100% 10 toes in.
Listen, as a person who was never fortunate enough to meet either of my grandfathers, the fact that your son Aiden spends time with his grandfather, that warms my heart, and that is definitely a beautiful blessing. Thank you for that, Tishaura. So we are for real, going to get ready to wrap because I was like, you know what, I want to be sensitive to her time. And you know, it's an evening and we got to get back to these kids. So Tishaura, I have a couple of fun questions for you, Sarah. I want to know, let me say this. You a TikTok star. If you're not a star yet, your star is rising. What got you into TikTok? Because these videos, honey, are banging.
That's fun.
I was like, look at the shirt on this TikTok.
My son, TikTok, he would, at the beginning of the pandemic, we had nothing to do. so we would make TikTok videos dancing. And
what's your TikTok name? Tell us your TikTok.
It's Tishaura Jones, just Tishaura Jones. Yeah, we would make TikTok videos. He would teach me the new dances and we record it. And then just recently I decided to use it for GOTV weekend and dance with my friends. So
I loved it. Listen, Tishaura Jones, follow her on TikTok. And follow her at Tishaura on Instagram and Twitter. I'm like, ooh, that's beautiful. Okay, quick rapid fire. You wake up in the morning, you turn on some music. What's that song to get you hyped, ready for the day?
I start my day with gospel music. So the first song on my playlist is usually Jesus Will by Anita Wilson.
Love that. Okay, awesome. Okay, what do you end your day with? If you got to mellow out.
To mellow out, you know, I don't usually end it with any music, but if there's something like I need to inspire me, it changes. But more recently, it's been Jasmine Sullivan's Masterpiece. Or Alicia Keys' The Underdog.
Okay. Two phenomenally powerful women. Yes. Okay. You come home. You got a chef to cook anything you want at the end of a hard day. What are you eating at night?
I am eating a nice piece of fish, maybe a barramundi or salmon with some sort of sauce that has capers in it. I just love capers. I don't know why. Or with some shrimp, some asparagus, and some mashed potatoes.
Listen, I hope you got some white wine on the side, girl. A little something.
Little bourbon is what I got.
With that, Tishaura, we're going to have bourbons with Tishaura in a little bit. Okay, last question. After the pandemic, God willing, dies down, you can take Aiden on a trip anywhere in the world. Where y'all going?
We're going to Barbados.
Oh, tell me why.
My best friend from Hampton lives there now. And I haven't seen her since she got married in 2009.
Tishaura, we going to Barbados, girl? Barbados. I can't wait, honey. I'm going to pack both these boys up and that husband. We're going to meet you there. I love that. Yes. Okay, we're going to claim that and really, really hope that this pandemic is on a downturn and that, you know, people can get the vaccines and be safe. And so as we close out, and thank you for this conversation. This is the first time I've had a one-on-one for our speaker series. And I could think of no one better to have a one-on-one with than you. And so I'm grateful that you're always open and transparent, and I could talk to you all day. But I've been told to stay on schedule because I got like 5 other questions. So that means we'll have to have a part 2 once Election Day passes on April 6th. April 6th. Let me get the business done at hand. For folks that would like to donate to your campaign, to volunteer virtually or in person, how do we check you out to be supportive?
Go to Tishaura.com.
Awesome. Say it one more time.
Tishaura, number 4, mayor.com.
Tishaura4mayor.com, number 4. Awesome. And then my final question to you, Tishaura, is the media is a wonderful thing and can be a woeful thing. Tell us in closing something that isn't talked about enough about you or your campaign or the race or St. Louis, that people would probably only hear from you, that people should know what's not out there, what needs to be uplifted. Tell us something we don't know, Tishaura.
No. Oh, wow. That I'm ready to lead on day one. We don't need a mayor that has to build relationships and or a mayor that on training wheels. We need, at this juncture where our city is right now, we need help and we need transformational change. And I'm the only candidate in this race that has led city departments, transformed city departments, built city departments. And that's the kind of leadership our city deserves. And that's the kind of leadership our city needs to lead it into the 21st century.
Mm-hmm. Well, you said a few words today, Tishaura. Thank you. You are ready on day one. I know you're ready on day one because you were ready in 2007, but nonetheless, God always has a plan. And so I am grateful to see where you are today. It was exciting to see you be the lead vote getter a couple of weeks ago during the primary election. I believe that St. Louis will continue to be behind you on April 6th, but we will never rest on our laurels. And so therefore, everybody, Tishaura4mayor.com, please volunteer. I also want to say, the beauty of the collective PAC is that what you should do, and yeah, I'm giving some definitive statements here, what you should do, because I know you have been motivated by today if you are watching this conversation. Please donate to Tishaura, donate to the collective PAC. Because what your donations do when they reach the collective PAC is help us to be able to support Tishaura and Black candidates across the country that are running. We have to build the bench of Black leaders who are working to support our communities to progress us forward. But we also have to help those who are currently running or running for reelection. And so please, I encourage you to support Tishaura directly, to support the PAC. That helps us to support Tishaura as well. And so, Sarah, I'm so grateful for your time. Again, thank Aiden for letting his mama do this tonight. I am going to thank my boys with some ice cream for not interrupting and showing their face on this camera today. I am excited for what's ahead, not for you, but for St. Louis, because I know what you will be able to bring to that city as mayor. And it will be the progress that they need and that we all need to then be able to replicate. So thank you, Tishaura, for your time, and we wish you the best. Thank you
for always supporting me and you know that I am down for the collective for whatever you need. So you know you got a friend for life in me.
Thank you. Appreciate that always. So y'all, I'm just going to do a couple of housekeeping things. First of all, I told y'all Tishaura is amazing. She is the real deal. She is true blue. She is, as she said, ready on day one. And so we have to make sure that we are ready on today. What is today? March 11th. We have to be ready today, less than a month away for this general election, one of the biggest general elections thus far. I think probably the biggest general election thus far of 2021, to make sure that we can support Tishaura becoming the next mayor of St. Louis and the first Black woman to serve in that seat. So please visit Tishaura4mayor.com to support her and visit collectivepac.org to support our work as well. I do want to highlight, as we all know, that this is Women's History Month. And so the collective is extremely excited for some programming that we're going to have this year, or I'm sorry, this year, yes, and this month. On March 23rd, save the date, we're going to have a phenomenal conversation with two other women that are making herstory every single day. We're going to be joined by Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley from Massachusetts, and also the Cook County's state's attorney in Illinois, Ms. Kim Fox, will be our special guest for a conversation in recognition of Women's History Month and recognition of a new initiative that the collective is about to drop. I won't tell you too much yet. You'll learn about that soon. But really to talk about the power of Black women in Congress and also serving within the criminal justice system. So I hope that you would check out that event on March 23rd, 6:30 p.m. We'll have information that goes out to you on social media, also on our email list. And if you have not joined the collective's email list, please, again, I encourage you to go to collectivepac.org to sign up for that. And then finally, please, yes, donate to the Collective PAC to help us support Black candidates running for office on a local, state, and federal level. The Collective PAC turns 5 years old in August. We are so proud to have helped elect hundreds now of Black candidates across the country on a local, state, and federal level, but we can only do this work through the support of all of you. And so please spread the word about the work that we're doing. We have so much exciting things happening down the road. I am also really, really excited to say that our staff is growing, which gives us the capacity to do more work. And so on behalf of me and the 18 staffers we now have in the collective family, we want to say thank you. Thank you for your past support. Thank you for your current support as we continue to build Black political power. So with that being said, I'm Stefanie Brown James, again, co-founder, senior advisor of the collective. I look forward to talking with you all soon. And if you have any questions, any suggestions, want to see folks in conversations with us in our speaker series, I encourage you to send an email to info@collectivepac.org, and we'll be sure to get back to you. Thank you all so much and have a great evening. Bye.